Even though we have the freedom to grow, change, and consciously shape who we become, none of us starts from scratch. Our early years leave fingerprints on the way we think, react, and connect. Long before we understand romance or commitment, we are already learning powerful lessons about safety, closeness, conflict, and worth. The patterns we develop in childhood, how we cope, how we seek comfort, how we protect ourselves, often follow us quietly into adulthood. Marriage and family counselors Dr. Milan and Kay Yurkovich identified 5 common love styles that tend to emerge from childhood experiences. A love style isn't about how deeply you care, it's about the habits, instincts, and emotional strategies you bring into romantic relationships. When we recognize our own love style, we begin to understand why we react the way we do and how those reactions shape the health of our relationships. Here are the 5 love styles described by the Yurkoviches. 1. The pleaser. Pleasers often grow up with a parent who is overly critical, emotionally reactive, or difficult to satisfy. As children, they quickly learn that the safest strategy is to behave perfectly. They try to stay good, agreeable, and helpful to avoid triggering disapproval or anger. Instead of receiving comfort, they become the emotional caretakers, soothing their parents' moods rather than having their own needs met. Conflict feels threatening to pleasers. In disagreements, they may give in quickly, apologize even when they're not at fault, or smooth things over to restore harmony. Saying no can feel nearly impossible. To prevent tension, they may hide their true feelings, or even bend the truth to avoid confrontation. As adults, pleasers become highly attuned to the emotions of others. They can read subtle shifts in mood, and often anticipate what others need before it's spoken. While this makes them thoughtful partners, it also leads them to overextend themselves. They may try to be everything to everyone, neglecting their own boundaries in the process. When the pressure becomes too great, when they feel chronically unappreciated or afraid they're failing, pleasers can shut down or abruptly withdraw from relationships. For pleasers to build stable, fulfilling partnerships, they must learn to express their own needs honestly and tolerate the discomfort of healthy conflict. 2. The victim. Victims frequently come from chaotic or volatile homes. Survival meant staying quiet, staying small, and avoiding attention. They learned that being visible could invite danger, so compliance became a shield. To cope with instability or aggression, many developed rich inner worlds, retreating into imagination as a form of escape. Because their needs were overlooked or dismissed, victims often struggle with low self-esteem. Anxiety and depression may follow them into adulthood. They can unconsciously gravitate toward controlling partners who replicate the emotional dynamics of childhood. Victims are highly adaptable. They can endure stressful environments because chaos feels familiar. Ironically, calm and stability may make them uneasy. They're so accustomed to bracing for the next outburst that peace can feel temporary and suspicious. To create healthier relationships, victims must learn to value themselves. Developing self-compassion, recognizing their worth, and asserting boundaries are crucial steps towards deeper intimacy. Instead of shrinking to survive, they must practice standing tall, even when it feels unfamiliar. 3. The controller. Controllers often grew up without a strong sense of protection or emotional safety. As children, they learned that relying on others was risky, so they hardened themselves. They became self-sufficient, determined to avoid ever feeling helpless again. Control becomes their armor. By managing situations, setting strict standards, and staying emotionally guarded, they believe they can prevent vulnerability. Fear, humiliation, and powerlessness are emotions they work tirelessly to avoid. Anger, however, doesn't feel vulnerable to them. It feels strong, so anger can become their primary tool for maintaining dominance. Controllers may appear rigid, decisive, and independent. They prefer solving problems alone and can become frustrated when things don't go according to plan. New experiences or emotional uncertainty can trigger defensiveness because they threaten the sense of security control provides. For controllers to build lasting relationships, they must learn that trust is not weakness. Letting others in, softening their anger, and allowing shared influence are essential steps towards deeper intimacy. 4. The vacillator. Vacillators often grow up with inconsistent parenting. Love and attention are unpredictable, sometimes abundant, sometimes absent. As children, they feel deeply that their needs are not a priority. This inconsistency creates a powerful fear of abandonment. When affection finally comes, it may feel too late. Resentment and longing mix together, leaving the child unsure how to receive the love they've craved. As adults, vacillators seek the steady devotion they lacked. They idealize new partners, placing them on a pedestal and imagining a perfect connection. But when reality inevitably falls short, disappointment hits hard. They can swing from intense admiration to deep discouragement. Feeling misunderstood or emotionally alone is common. Their heightened sensitivity allows them to detect subtle shifts in tone or behavior, sometimes reading distance where none even exists. Vacillators experience significant internal conflict, wanting closeness yet fearing rejection. To develop healthier relationships, they must slow down. Taking time to truly know someone, managing expectations, and grounding themselves in reality rather than fantasy can help prevent repeated heartbreak. 5. The avoider. Avoiders often grow up in homes where emotional expression is limited and independence is emphasized. From an early age, they learned to rely on themselves. Their feelings may not have been acknowledged or validated, so they learned to compartmentalize them. Self-sufficiency becomes a defining trait. Avoiders value space and autonomy. They are comfortable with logic and practicality, but may struggle with emotional vulnerability. Intense displays of emotion, either their own or someone else's, can feel overwhelming. Because they learned to soothe themselves without much external support, avoiders may unintentionally create emotional distance in relationships. They aren't necessarily uncaring, they simply feel safer when emotions are contained and manageable. To build deeper, more enduring connections, avoiders must practice emotional openness. Sharing thoughts and feelings, even when they feel uncomfortable, allows intimacy to grow. Learning that vulnerability does not equal weakness is a transformative step. Each of these love styles represents a creative adaptation to childhood circumstances. None of them are inherently bad. They are survival strategies that once made sense. The challenge arises when those same strategies limit connection in adulthood. Understanding your love style offers insight, not blame. It gives language to patterns that may have felt confusing or frustrating. When you see where your tendencies began, you gain the power to respond differently. Which love style resonates most with you? Share your reflections below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If this video resonated with you, consider subscribing, and feel free to share it with a friend or loved one who might find it valuable. We'll see you in the next one.